When it comes to mobility for golf, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of the body to keep mobile is the thoracic cage. It's the thoracic cage where we get the most amount of rotation in the golf swing, and if we can keep the thoracic cage mobile, that means that we have to rely less and less on the lumbar spine. As a matter of fact, the lumbar spine doesn't really rotate. It roughly has anywhere from 5 to 15 degrees of rotation, and that's due to the architecture. The facet joints in the lumbar spine are more vertical, so when you rotate, they slam into each other. So when you try to get rotation from the lumbar spine, I think that's what sets us up for lumbar pain and low back issues. So to keep the thoracic spine mobile, there's no better movement for me than the global postural stretch of the thoracic cage. It's 3 pieces, and you do each one for 30 seconds. We first want to warm up the thoracic spine in the sagittal plane, which is front to back. So sitting on a bench, take your feet wide, push the crown of your head to the ceiling, chin is in, eyes are down, bring your arms out in front of you, shoulders away from your ears. You're going to push your palms forward, and now you're going to push your thoracic cage back. So for the next 30 seconds, what I'm trying to do is every time I breathe out, I feel like I'm increasing the distance between the tips of my palms and my thoracic spine. I'm going to do that for 30 seconds. Once the 30 seconds is done, and I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what that looks like. So what I'm doing is, again, as I'm rounding the thoracic cage, I'm opening the facet joints. So I do that for 30 seconds. That takes care of the sagittal plane. Now the next plane of movement I'm going to move in is the frontal plane. So now I want to feel like somebody took an axle or a drill, drilled it through my sternum, popped an axle through my body, and this is my pivot point. So to do the GPS in the frontal plane, let's take your left palm and put the palm facing the ceiling. Let's take the right arm, let's do full external rotation. And now what I want you to do is at the same time that you're lifting your left elbow to the ceiling, pushing the right palm to the floor, I want you to feel like you're moving in that pivot point, and you're going to drive your left elbow up to the ceiling. And for 30 seconds, you're going to hold and breathe. Now for me, the money move here is I'm now going to feel like I'm going to push my ribs out of my body that way. I'm going to translate my ribs, and for 30 seconds, I feel like I'm going to breathe into that area, opening and expanding my left rib cage. You should feel everything here on the left side. You should feel nothing on the right side if you're doing it properly. After the 30 seconds you're done, you're going to slowly relax, and then you're going to switch sides. You're going to bring that right palm facing the ceiling, left arm full external rotation. At the same time, drive that right elbow to the ceiling, drive that left palm down to the floor, and now translate your right rib cage to the right, and we're going to hold and breathe. We're going to breathe into that right rib cage and breathe out and see if we can translate and drive that right elbow to the ceiling even further. Do that for 30 seconds and slowly relax. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go into what everybody came to do, is we're going to rotate. Now typically I will do the sagittal plane 1 time for 30 seconds. Typically I'll do the frontal plane 2 times on each side for 30 seconds. And then when I get in the transverse plane, I will do it 3 times on each side for 30 seconds. Now to do the transverse plane, we bring both arms out in front. I want to turn my right palm down like I'm going to pull a bow on a bow and arrow, and I'm going to pull that bow back, and as I'm pulling the bow string, my elbow is going to go higher than my wrist. And now for 30 seconds, I feel like every time I breathe out that I'm increasing the distance between the tip of my left palm and the tip of my right elbow. Once the 30 seconds is up, I want to very slowly relax, and then I'm going to switch sides. Again, pull that bow, and the left elbow is higher than the left wrist. I work for 30 seconds. Preferably you're going to do this in a mirror, and you're going to keep your spine really straight, always pushing the crown of your head to the ceiling. Now I told you I do that 3 times, but let me let you in on a little bit of a cheat. That lead arm, so the arm that pulls the bow is always going to do the same thing. The elbow is always going to be higher than the wrist, and the reason we do that is that locks the scapula, and that just keeps us from moving the scapula, and that forces us to move the thoracic cage. So that arm that pulls the bowstring is always going to do the same thing. But that lead arm, if that lead arm is parallel with the earth, it works more of the middle part of the thoracic cage. If that lead arm is above parallel, it works more of the lower part of the thoracic cage. And if that lead arm is below parallel, it works more of the upper part of the thoracic cage. So it doesn't matter whether your arm is parallel, which is the middle part, if the arm is above parallel, which is the lower part of the thoracic cage, or if the lead arm is below parallel, which is the upper part of the thoracic cage, this arm is always going to do the same. So typically what I like to do is I like to do 30 seconds in each position. However, if you feel like your resistance or your restriction is more in the middle part of the thoracic cage, then just go ahead and do 3 times on each side with your arm parallel with the floor. Again, for me, that is one of the most powerful golf mobility exercises. If you like what you see here, click the link to H3 TV. I have almost 300 videos, and I have a section that's all related to golf fitness. Hope you enjoy the segment, and we'll see you soon.